What's up guys, Dr. Aaron Macklin here with Revival Performance Physical Therapy, and today I'm going to be showing you guys 4 exercises to fix anterior shoulder pain and that pinching you get when you raise your arm overhead. So that pinching generally comes from that acromion being too far down or forward, so that shoulder that's attached to your shoulder blade, that shoulder blade not moving and being in the right position, or the humerus, that's this arm part, being too far internally rotated or just too far in the wrong position as well. So in general, most of us are too tight in the front and too weak in the back. So the tug of war between our shoulder and our shoulder blades is pulling our shoulder forward, and then they're not loose enough to kind of allow it to get in the right position as we reach and do things overhead, and then it causes that to kind of pinch on itself and create that tension and that sharp pain in the shoulder. So I'm going to show you a couple exercises to combat that. So first one we're going to do is called shoulder external rotation, or ER, and then also some pull aparts. So shoulder external rotation is this bone right here getting into external rotation. So we're just pulling those shoulder blades back, getting in a good position here. So I'm not going to be doing any exercises here. So I'm pulling that shoulder blade back, keeping that chin in a good position, bracing the core, keeping that rib cage down, and then just pulling that apart. Nice and controlled. So what a lot of people will do on accident is they'll do a tricep extension like this. See how I'm not really even rotating at my shoulder? I'm just doing a tricep extension. So keep that angle at the elbow here. Pull those shoulder blades back, chin in, rib cage down, pulling that apart. So notice my elbow position doesn't change. I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. So that's externally rotating. You should feel that in the back of the shoulder. Second, similar, is now to work on the scapular retractor. So you're going to be having your arms straight across. This elbow pit here is going to be rotated up. That's the external rotation of the humerus there. And you're just pulling these guys apart. So control here, keeping that chin in, keeping that rib cage down, pulling these guys apart, trying to keep the elbow pit pointing up, squeezing in the back of the shoulder blade, controlling that forward. So ideally you can do these in the mirror so that you don't end up doing this or this or this or arching your back, anything like that. So core's engaged, chin's in, and shoulder blades are level so they're not down or up on one side or the other. So there's first 2. Second one, if you work at a desk, or even if you don't, this is just a great one to do in general. If, as with any of these exercises, if it causes any of that sharp pinching pain, don't do it. Don't jam through that pain that's compressing and kind of aggravating, picking at that scab basically of, it's not a scab, but picking at that inflammation there in the shoulder. So don't just jam through any sort of pinching pain. Definitely see a physical therapist to kind of actually assess this to make sure these are the proper exercises for you. They're going to be good for the majority, but seeing a physical therapist can really isolate what your actual problem is. So second one is going to be chicken wings. So keeping that chin in, having your hands kind of back here, doesn't matter necessarily where they're at, and then you're going to be using those elbows and the scapulas to just squeeze back. So you're not doing a chicken head where you're poking your head forward, keeping that chin back, keeping that engaged core so you're not arching your back like this and keeping that down, and just bring those shoulder blades and the shoulders back as far as you can. You'll feel all those muscles working. Hold that for a couple seconds and then back. Hold for a few seconds and then back. So you probably can't really overdo these. So do, 5 to 10 every hour or so when you're at the desk, say after you get an email from your boss every time, do a couple of those guys. So just to kind of get that throughout the day so you don't go 8 hours and then all you've done is work those muscles in the front and then you go home and you're just rounded shoulders, never working those muscles in the back. So that's chicken wings. Third one, touchdowns. So it's going to work those external rotators as well as the straightest, anterior, delt, a lot of these muscles in the shoulders. So what you're going to do, it's kind of like you're saying touchdown, like you're a referee here. So with the band around your wrists here, or your wrists or your hands, whatever, try to pull that apart so that these are parallel to each other, like a field goal post. Bracing that core so you're not arching your back like this, keeping that chin in, and then you're just going up as far as you feel comfortable while maintaining those arms staying parallel, just like that. So you'll notice, as you get up, it's gonna try to do this. Try as much as you can not to do that so that you're engaging those rotator cuff muscles, starting each one with those shoulder blades back like this. So you're not starting like this, but you start here. They end up going forward a little bit, but try to keep those scapular muscles engaged. So it's like you're trying to tense them up as you go up. Again, no pinching with any of these. If they're pinching, stop it and don't jam through that. And last but not least is a pec stretch. Like I said, the pecs generally are winning this tug of war of the shoulder, the pecs and some other muscles here that are pulling those shoulders forward. So giving them a disadvantage by loosening them up so you can pull those shoulders back whenever you're working these other muscles in your back is gonna help out. So lots of ways to do a pec stretch. The most simple way is finding a corner or a doorway. So I'll pretend this is a doorway here. So getting into a doorway here and you're pulling those shoulder blades up, keeping those elbows about probably head level, could be a little lower, could be a little bit higher. You can play with it to find the most stretch on your chest right here. And then you gently lean into that. So what you don't want to do is use your muscles to press in, like use your pecs to press in. Instead, you just want to kind of lean into that so that your pecs aren't necessarily engaged, they're just getting stretched out. So you can play with kind of finding the position that gives you the most stretch and then doing a little bit of different positions. So a little bit higher, a little bit lower, because it stretches the different fibers of that chest. So hang out into that for 3 to 4 times of 30 seconds. Really stretch those guys out and bulletproof those shoulders. So have fun.